Welcome to another wonderful session talking about the Rambam's Hilchot Teshuva. We are in chapter 5. Probably the most famous part of Hilchot Teshuva that most people, when they talk about the Rambam, they quote. And I think it's very good for us to begin talking about this concept. Says the Rambam, Reshut lechol adam netuna, אם רצה להטות עצמו לדרך טובה ולהיות צדיק, והרשות בידו. רשות.
Purity.
Reshut means the ability to act. Reshut usually refers to authority, but here it doesn't mean authority. It means that we are given the power, the ability to act however we want. We learn in this week's Torah portion, in Parashat Nitzavim, that we have two paths. One path leading to life, another path leading to death. Death. Which there are some Mefarshim say that means non-existence. Which is really, really hard to understand. Because we can always imagine a different state that we would go into, even though it's very hard. Like, people can imagine being dead. Like they see themselves laying in the coffin, like this, and they can't move. And they're like, hello? Someone coming to get me? And then there's this little worm going like this, and but you can't blow because you can't breathe, you're dead. And it's coming like right up your nose. People can imagine that. It's like, God, please come and get me. Okay, I'm out. And you can imagine getting to the buffet line with the ice cream and the cakes and everything, all the beautiful things in heaven that some people wait for, the 70 virgins. So one path, the derech tova, the good path, liot tzaddik, to be righteous. Reshut biyado, he has the ability to do so. אם רצה להטות עצמו לדרך הרעה ולהיות רשע, הרשות בידו. And if he wanted to lean to take the path that is evil and become a rasha, an evil person, reshut biyado. He has that ability. We are not pre-programmed to be either evil or be righteous. Yes, Isaac,
So
Yitzchak.
we're not born good?
What does that mean?
I don't know. I thought I've heard that before. Is that true?
What does that mean? I don't know what I'm asking you. What does that mean? We're not born good.
How do you define good?
Or
No.
righteous?
What?
Making the right decision.
You have the ability to.
Okay, so maybe
When you were born, what decision did you make?
you don't know what decision.
No, the first decision that you made was to scream because they slapped you. And then 8 days later, you know what they did to you? That wasn't fun.
You remember that?
I do. You know how painful it was? I couldn't walk for a year. So in that sense, I think
Maybe it's not related.
I think we are born with the capability to do good. We are not born, some religions claim that we are born evil. We're not. We're not. There is a position in Chazal that says that the first sin is something that God requires us to do in order that the Yetzer enters us. But the reason the Yetzer enters us is that we have free will. If you don't have the Yetzer Hara, you cannot make a decision against God. Can the angel say to God, God says, go over there. No, sorry, I'm a rake. I'm not going. Does that work? But if God tells you, go, you can say, no, sorry, not going. Not today. Maybe later. Come back later. Not prudent. Not smart. Could be painful. But you have the ability to do that.
Sometimes you don't have a choice though.
Oh, that's the problem. You always have a choice.
The eight-day-old kid didn't have a choice to enter into a covenant, right?
Correct? Correct. But his neshama took an oath to get into this covenant. But once he grows and becomes a kid, he has a choice.
Right.
He has a choice. If he says, I don't want to be a Jew, he's going to suffer the consequences. It's not that there are no consequences. Just because you have the ability to do A or B, it doesn't mean that if you do A, then everything is fine. If you do B, everything's fine. No, there are consequences that are coming along with every decision we make. But we have a decision to make. And that goes back to what the Rambam said, that there are three categories of people: Tzaddik, Rasha, and Benoni. And remember, Rav Dessler explained very clearly that when it comes to making a decision, there is no Benoni. It's either you made the good decision or made the worst decision. There is no middle ground. It's only when you're not making a decision, then you could be weighed and be right a Benoni. But by doing a decision, there are only two options, A or B. 0 or 1, right? Binary. Says the Rambam, וזה שהוא כתוב בתורה, הן האדם היה כאחד ממנו לדעת טוב ורע. We have the ability to make these decisions. Only us. כלומר, הדמין זה של אדם היה יחיד בעולם. There is no other species in the world that has the ability that we have to make a free decision, to make a decision. Now, you could say, well, Rabbi, okay, but the decision is not free. It's not absolute. Okay, fine. But it's still an ability to make a decision. Somebody puts a sword to your neck and says, convert or die. Do you have a decision to make? Well, what kind of choice is that? It's a choice, buddy. You still have a decision to make. Famous British philosopher Thomas Hobbes says when a person grabs a person and says, be my slave or die, he says you're still making a choice. You could decide that you don't want to be a slave and you're willing to die. But what kind of a choice is that? I'm sorry. Sometimes the choice is between a gourmet meal and another gourmet meal. Sometimes it's between getting kicked in the head or punched in the stomach. Yeah, sometimes, but you still have a choice. What are you going to do? Choice makes you responsible for what you do. Since we have the ability to choose, we have the ability to make decisions, we also have the responsibility to deal with the decisions that we make. And you can't complain about it. I mean, people do all the time. But my eyes kind of glaze over. Did you make a decision? Yes. Is that the decision that you made? Yes. So what do you want? But I didn't know. No. But sorry. Lump it. It's a nice American, right? Lump it. Do you know what lump it means? So you either love it or you lump it. That is, you have these coals that you have to just swallow. You have to lump it. There's no. So then he says, שיההו מעצמו בדעתו ומחשבתו, יודע הטוב והרע, ועושה כל מה שהוא חפץ. ואין מי שיעכב בעדו מלעשות הטוב או הרע. כיוון שכן, הוא פן ישלח ידו. That sense, the Rambam makes it clear that it is within our capabilities, through our mind, through our thoughts, to know what good and bad is, and that we can make our decision based on our will. And nothing stops us from choosing the good or choosing the bad. And that's why we were kicked out of Garden of Eden. It's a very interesting idea. Why did Hashem kick Adam and Eve out of the Garden of Eden?
Because Eve had a bad effect on Adam.
Nope.
And they-
Because he was worried that they would eat from the fruit again. Why? Because they have the ability to choose. He didn't take that away from them. Which means what tree would they go after? Tree of life. And then once they ate the tree of life, what would they do the third time? They go back to the tree of good and evil and eat it again. Because they have the ability to make that choice. God is not going to stop them. It's up to you. God is not going to remove every store of pistachio ice cream from here to, I don't know what, to Tzfat. No. They're going to be there. You have a decision to make. Pistachio ice cream is a euphemism, Asher, for a 20-year-old blonde. Okay, let's keep going. אל יעבור במחשבתך דבר זה שאומרים טיפשי אומות העולם. Don't even think about what the fools of the other nations and many of the Jews say that the Kadosh Baruch Hu commands on a person from the minute that he was created to either be a righteous person or a rasha. It is not predetermined whether you're going to be a tzaddik or a rasha. There are certain things that are predetermined. How tall you are. So the Rambam says, don't believe that anything that commands. He says, "En hadavar ken." It's not like that. That is determined. Ela kol adam ra'ui lo liot tzaddik ke Moshe Rabbeinu, or rasha ki Yerovam. Each person can either be a tzaddik like Moshe Rabbeinu, like Moses, or a rasha like Yerovam. Either or. We have the potentiality for both.
Who was Yerovam?
What?
Who was Yerovam?
He built idols. It's a big. So he says, or Chacham, or Sachal, or Rachman, or Achzari, or Kili, all these moral qualities, all of that. It's up to you. You can work on them and you can change them. No one decreed in the heaven that you are going to be an ignoramus. No one. You might not have the same intellectual, cognitive skills as this person or that person. You might not. We all have different kelim, right? We all have different tools that Hashem decided we need them to come close to Him. But those kelim are not going to push you away from God if you don't want them. If you don't want to, you have to make the decision. And think about this. You're going before Rosh Hashanah, Yom Adin. And you have a choice. Either you're going to come to him, stand before him as a tzaddik, or a rasha. But Rabbi, I screwed up. Okay, tell him that. He'll take it into account. Make it right. Says, En lo mishi yichpeu. No one forces him to make the right decision or the wrong decision. Velo gozer alav, and doesn't decree for him. Velo mishemoshcho lechad mishnei hadrachim. Or some external force that is pulling you one way or the other. No. It's all you, baby. It's all you. Says the Rambam. Elahu me'atzmo mida'ato noteh le'ezu derech she'yirtzeh. He is the one that decides which way to go. Am I going to go this way or am I going to go that way? Yes?
Slight issue. Let's
Slight.
be driving in a car.
Okay.
Right?
Here we go. I'm driving.
Behind there, now there's going to be a car.
Now I'm driving. Yeah, now there's a car. I'm sitting. You're in the back, reading Tehillim. Because
Same
I'm
shot.
driving.
And then suddenly you get into a car crash.
Boom!
Having this dramatic. Then therefore, how has nobody forced you to be in that state? You've been forced to be in that state. You've been forced to be in that car.
Is it getting into a car accident a sin? A moral decision?
No.
The answer is yes, but not for the reason that you think. That is not a moral decision. I'll give you an example of a moral decision. Your roommate is snoring. You're laying in bed, it's 3 a.m., you've had enough. So what do? A, take the pillow, suffocate him, and get it over with. Put him out of his misery. Or B, put something in your ears, turn around, face the wall, and count sheep. That's what we're talking about. Or like, you remember the example that you gave me in the previous class? You go to a restaurant and the girl comes and says, what would you like to order? And you have a choice now. You could either give her the order, or you could say this, hi. How you doing? Right? You made a decision. But then you said, but Rabbi, she's beautiful. She winked at me. No, she didn't. She had something in her eye. Okay, she smiled my way. No, it wasn't towards you. Put on back your glasses and you'll see she's not even looking at you. I know she feels for me. Okay. Just because you know something doesn't mean you act upon it. You have choices to make. No one is forcing you to transgress the commandments of Hashem. That's what the Rambam is saying. You don't have the excuse to say to Hashem on Yom Kippur or in Rosh Hashanah, you made me. It's your problem.
Okay, fine. Then what about parents?
What about parents?
If they ask you to do something on Shabbat,
Yeah.
for example, like turn on the light, for example,
Yeah.
it's them that's asked you to do that, therefore they're making you transgress.
But the Torah tells you specifically that you don't have to listen to them. Because they are also commanded to live according to the Torah. So now he's going to quote, the rabbi said that, that you can't tell me to violate Jewish law. So forget it. That's a violation of Jewish law. Where? Somewhere in the Shulchan Aruch. Over here. There's a pasuk specifically dealing with that. But yes, you're right.
I'm joking.
That's the problem. It's not a joke. You are right. So we don't have the excuse to simply say to Hashem, look, you created me. I'm evil to the core, right? Some religions claim or original sin, and I can't avoid it. So you created me this way. So
No, you create
lump it.
You create yourself because you made those decisions to be evil.
That's what the Jewish view is. But there are some people who say, no, God created me this way, so it's not my fault that I'm a perv. It's not my fault that I'm addicted to pork. It's not my fault that I can't learn Torah because I don't have the patience for it. It's not my fault. You made me this way. So lump it. Hashem says, you want me to lump it? No problem, lumpy. I'm going to lump you exactly where it's going to hurt. Chas v'shalom to say that. Chas v'shalom. The Rambam is telling us that we are a responsible, moral, capable being. We have capability to make moral decisions, and we have the responsibility to deal with their consequences. This is not some infantile position that everything is fine, you don't have to make choices, everything you do is fine, it's not your fault. What is that? We are not a religion, a bunch of huggers. That's why I don't hug. Don't quiver. It's not. It's about becoming a full human being and understanding all the capabilities that the Kadosh Baruch Hu gave us, which is an ability that we wanted of making moral decisions. And now we have it. And there's no going back, baby. And so we have to understand that we have a choice. We can sleep, or we can come to Shir on time. We can listen and learn during Shir, or we're just gonna, look here, look there. It is us making the decision. It's not you. It is you. You have a Yetzer. It's part of you. It's inside you. It's telling you all the time. It's talking to you. We don't want to do that. You should say, yeah, we do. And we're going to do it. But everyone's going to think you're weird. And we're not weird. Guess what? I'm not weird, and I'm doing it. Now shut up. Lost that battle. I'll get you back. Says the Rambam following. אין הבורא גוזר על האדם להיות טוב ולא להיות רע. The Kadosh Baruch Hu does not dictate, does not command that you will be righteous or you'll be evil. כיוון שכן הוא נמצא זה, החוטא הוא הפסיד את עצמו. לפיכך ראוי לו לבכות ולקונן על חטאה ועל מה שעשה לנפשו וגם לרעה. Therefore you have to understand that you are responsible for what you caused to yourself and you should be sorry about it.
So you're saying that the only thing that God provides is the situation for us to make that decision.
What?
The only thing that God provides is the situation, we then make that decision.
The situations you don't have control over.
Yeah.
But how you act in the situation, you decide.
Yeah.
Like you went on a date and the girl spilled her soup on you. You have two options. Scream and yell, or say, oh, that's okay, no problem. No, I'll pay for the dry clean. No, it's okay. I just, it's fine. Let's just keep talking. Or you go, what is this? Is that going to be your reaction? All right. Okay. Good luck with that. You have decisions to make. And the Rambam is saying, the consequences are pagam in the nefesh. You hurt your own soul. This is what we talked about last year. Transgressions have an effect on our spiritual self. Sometimes it's envisioned as a garment. That every time you sin, it creates a hole in it. And when you get to Olam Haba, you get this garment, and wherever you have sinned, you have a hole in there. And everybody can see it. Oh, eyes are gone. I know why. Oh, ears. Holes in the ears. No lashon. Your tongue is gone. Lashon hara. That's how it's going to be. That's an image that is given in some of the Sfarim. Do you imagine if today there was a guy that would look at you? They say that in the Arizal, he could. He will tell you exactly what sin a person sinned. Just the person walk, and he would say, oh, you need to work on this, you need to work on that. Because we damaged ourselves. Hashem is simply trying to tell us, listen, buddy, you're only harming yourself. It's not me, you're not harming me, it's you. Because I want to give you so much. I want to make your life so amazing. But you're not allowing it. Because the tools, the buckets that I'm giving you to fill it with Kedusha, with holiness, with connection to me, you keep breaking the buckets. And the buckets are the kelim, the tools that Hashem gives us to connect to Him. Which are what? Our eyes, our ears, our mind. Everything. All the resources that He gives us. If Hashem gives us money, why do you think He's giving us money, Nathanael?
To give tzedakah a little bit and to enjoy life.
Wrong.
What?
He gives us so that we can connect to Him. It's a tool that He's giving us to connect to Him.
Why is not everybody the same?
Because not everybody needs that tool. There are some people Hashem knows, without this tool, will not connect to Him. Somebody said to me, Rabbi, look, I got to have a lot of money. So otherwise it's not going to work. And it's not. Hashem knows that. So He gives the person money. So the person will use the money to connect to Hashem. There's another person that knows that money is not going to affect it. That person needs to be in a good program, or have a good Rabbi, or have a health. Or somebody doesn't need the only way they'll connect to God is if He takes the health away. Lots of different, we all have different tools to deal with. But the ultimate purpose is to use these tools to connect to Hashem. And that's what the Rambam is talking about here. And he says the following. And number 3, Davar ze ikar gadol hu. It's a very important principle. And it is the pillar of the Torah and the mitzvahs. And he quotes our parsha, see, before you I have given you life and death. That is the ability biyadchem. It is in our hands. Kol she'achpotz adam la'asod mima'aseh bnei adam, oseh ben tovim ben ra'im. It's a very, very precise language or locution, says the Rambam, that whatever a person wants to perform or to do that is possible for human beings to do. Right? Somebody said to me, well, if it's free will, why can't I fly? I want to fly. Like, I'm sorry. You want the laws of physics to suspend just because you want to do something. That doesn't work. It means that what human beings are capable of, as the Rambam says, we have the ability to make choices. We can act this way, or you can act that way. Right? You go home, you see your family, they'll get on your nerves. You have a decision to make. Do you say something? Or do you say, the reason they're doing it is because they love me. They think that this is the best for me. So you're right. You know what, I'll think about it. Thank you, I really appreciate you bringing this up. Depends on what do you want to do with it. Says the Rambam again, מפני זה העניין נאמר מי ייתן והיה לבבם זה להם, that our heart belongs to us. אין הבורא כופה בני אדם. Hashem, the Creator, does not force us to do anything. What if He did? What would be the problem, Asher, if God would force us to do the mitzvahs?
We wouldn't have that much merit.
We wouldn't have any merit.
You would be doing things for. There wouldn't be a reason why you do everything.
There is no reward or punishment when you are forced to do something. There is no reward and punishment. If you're an automaton, right, a robot, that you simply do what Hashem wants, and you don't get a reward for that.
Why? Because you're carrying on.
Because you couldn't not do it. You had to do it. It's your nature. Does water get reward from God for flowing downhill?
No, it's what
That's the nature of the world. And the same thing, you have regular nature. You need to eat, you need to drink, you need to do all these things. Okay. God says, now I want you within these boundaries. I want you to do these things and not do those things. And you decide. You decide. Today I'll do them, tomorrow I won't do them. Fine. You'll get rewarded for what you chose to do, and you won't get rewarded for what you chose not to. Simple system, isn't it? So it says the Rambam in Halacha Dalet, if God would have commanded a person to be either a tzaddik or a rasha, או אילו היה שם דבר שמושך את האדם בעיקר תולדתו לדרך מן דרכים, if there was something intrinsically in us that would push us one way or the other, then he says that there would be no room for the Torah or the reward of punishment. I get it. Everything is left up to us. Questions? Yes.
It's not entirely on the.
It's fine.
Okay. Do we have any? Well, I guess two things. But first is, do we have any kind of explanation from these sources about if someone is trying to take into account and try to figure out what's the right thing to do, either in terms of in the context of the right thing to do as a person or the right thing to do within a relationship with God, and they choose wrong, but they've used the best of their faculties.
So that's the distinction between a shogeg and mazid. Shogeg is an unintentional transgression, and mazid is an intentional transgression. So, and we don't get, there's a different accounting done for what is shogeg and what is mezid. Now, as long as, and we learned this in 1220 class, if we learn like Rashi. So Rashi says that as long as your purpose in life is to live according to Hashem, then even if you make unintentional transgressions, Hashem will forgive you. Because at least that's what you're trying to do. So you made a mistake here, you made a mistake there, but at least you're trying to come closer to Him. You're trying to do the right thing, you're trying to follow the Torah, but you make mistakes, then Hashem says, fine, it's okay. But a person who says, I'm going to live my life however I want. I have the ability to choose, I choose this way. So there, anything that he does unintentional is considered intentional. Because he intended not to follow the Torah. The question is, what do you do? Do you reward him for an unintentional mitzvah? Separate question. We'll take that up probably next week. So we'll see you on Sunday. Have a good Shabbat.